previous speech was supposed to be the conclusion to the story of the Minecraft nations, seeing as it marked the end of the war. But it seems that it was only a superficial conclusion that appeased the men involved only on the surface level, and that within this spirit of freedom there is another dimension, a new layer which must be looked into and addressed. This is the story of the two men who have fought for freedom from the very beginning, and the incredible discoveries they have made along their journey. The first man decided to take a stroll through enemy territory and had no intentions of harm. And due to the simple fact that he was trespassing, he was murdered in cold blood. Everything that he had was swept out from under his feet, and he was left with absolutely nothing. He was a man who lost everything. He decided to take action and to destroy this corrupt nation, and that is exactly what he did. And he found the most extraordinary thing. He felt like he had found his freedom once again. Even with having nothing but himself, and all his possessions and his home stripped away from him, he felt free. He felt the freedom of knowing it was that easy to destroy. Now this brings us to the second man. And this man belonged to the same nation as the first man mentioned, and was the fellow founder of the Light Under nation. Besides the nation, this man had only one thing which he had to call his own, and that was his house. And this house meant everything to the man, for this is where he lived a peaceful life away from all the strife that comes with warring nations, and where he was able to contemplate this thing called life and find solace in his solitude. But due to the fact that this house had been built in enemy territory that they claimed, the house was destroyed, and nothing but dirt was left. The man was left with nothing, after having his only valued possession stripped from him, and deciding not to have the people of his nation suffer the consequences for his actions. The man renounced his own nation, and disassociated himself from it, thereby declaring he was a man who acted on his own volition, who would no longer have a place to call home, and have nothing to belong to him, giving up all his possessions. And he vowed to destroy the enemy nation, who has caused him and his people unmeasurable sorrow. And he did just that. And standing there alone, watching their nation burn and drown in lava, he felt a great sense of freedom. He had a realization that this great nation that was built and that had been oppressing him for so long was not a definite, unbreakable thing. And this can also be said for their ideology, which the two men had already renounced long ago, and that it all could easily be destroyed. And there was the realization that every thought of an obstacle they had before was only an illusion, and that there ultimately was nothing that could hold them back. Two men who both lost everything had felt and understood the same freedom for their own selves on their own volition. Now naturally this bred the realization that our nation too was a finite reality, and it could also easily be destroyed. and that everything a man has can be lost in an instant, and inevitably all will be lost in due time. So it could be that true everlasting freedom and peace is not to be found in a continuous cycle of collect and destroy, but rather in the ending of the conflict itself. This conflict which has drove this realm to madness. And until all men have the same realization, the conflict will continue endlessly, and the true spirit of freedom will pass them by, and those men will die in vain. Only time will tell what the direction this realm will take.